Now, Türkiye's retail sales have demonstrated remarkable growth, marking the most rapid expansion in 7 months and continuing an upward trend that began in June 2020. This surge is indicative of broad economic expansion and development within the country. Now, February saw a significant jump in retail sales, which soared by 25.1% compared to last year. There was also a dramatic increase in online and mail order retail sales, which shot up by 59% in February. Now, the wholesale trade volume in February increased by 5.7% from the same month in 2023, showcasing steady growth in this sector. The total turnover index across all sectors, including industry, construction, trade and services in the Turkish economy, skyrocketed by 85.1%. This increase reflects strong economic activity year on year. Let's get more on this now with Bilal Bayish, who joins us now from Istanbul. Good to have you back with us, Bilal. Retail sales are well and truly continuing to bounce back in Turkey. What's behind this latest surge?
Well, this robust growth in retail sales, they are indeed indicative of the positive economic outlook for Turkey in general. And they are suggesting increasing consumer confidence and spending habits overall in the Turkish economy. They are, as you just mentioned, a sign of economic expansion and recent development trend. And if you look at the details, the 60% rise in online sales, this is again a post-pandemic era trend, and also the 6% wholesale growth. They are all showing a rising, increasing consumer confidence and spending habit in Turkish economy. And as you just mentioned, the turnover index in Turkey, which includes all key sectors like industry, construction, service industries, it has also gone up by an impressive 85%. And they are all showing really strong economic activity in the Turkish economy overall. And they also mark a positive trend for the Turkish businesses and potentially boosting the consumer confidence in Turkey. And if you look at the other figures, like the unemployment rate and employment figures in the Turkish economy, they are also at almost a decade lows, with the unemployment rate at 8.7% and the total employment figure at over 32 million. The employment rate is almost 50%, and the labor force participation is also relatively high at 54%. So these are all signs of increasing economic activity and consumer confidence, I would say, for the Turkish economy in general.
I can imagine that the Turkish central bank officials might be looking at these figures with a mixture of happiness and a bit of concern, because we know inflation continues to be a problem in the Turkish economy. But with this surge in retail spending, is that likely to put further pressure on the inflation outlook?
So, the inflation figures in Turkey, they are partly due to demand factors. If you look at the economic growth in Turkey in 2023, it was at 4.5%. And together with rising capital investments, of course, the consumer spending was also another driving factor. So it does affect, and inflation is partly due to these demand factors. But I will say mostly supply side factors and issues, they are also playing a key influence or factor, like food prices, energy prices, wars, supply chain disruptions since at least the pandemic of 2020. And the other factors like earthquakes and the supply disruptions in general. But Turkey is recently has started focusing on balancing between the previous high growth targets and the high inflation, or the dealing with the relatively high inflation. Yeah. And it has started taking measures to deal with this relatively high inflation by bringing down the domestic demand. Because inflation figures are nowadays close to 70%, and okay, the growth figures are again expected to be at over 4%. The
Okay.
central bank.
I'm so sorry, Bill, I'll oblige to interrupt you there, but we will have to move on. But thank you so much, as always, for sharing your analysis with us.
Thanks, Oscar. Thanks for having me.